As we gear up to enter into a new decade and ring in 2020, celebrating a new year for many means making new resolutions. Whether it's needing to lose extra weight or managing their finances, even doing more exercise or eating healthier, it's good to make resolutions. However, what about when you don't follow through? Happy New Year and welcome everyone to the Main Health Show. I am Stephanie Anderson. And if you're like countless others who find themselves at the beginning of every year making New Year's resolutions, however, but tend to somehow during mid-year or someone just fall off, well then have I got the special guest with me here today. It is Miss Janie Terrazas. She is the mindfulness coach. And today we're going to talk about light up your awesomeness, empowering the mind, body, and soul. And I'll let you know that Janie's mission is to inspire and to motivate others to live a more balanced and mindful and love-filled life. So if you will welcome today, Janie Terrazas. Hi, Janie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It feels so nice to be on the other end of this because I've had you on one of my projects in the past,
Yes.
Rise Above, and so it's a pleasure to see you again.
Yes.
And to be a part of this amazing project of yours.
Why, thank you. And I will let my viewership know that I have been trying to get this young lady on the Main Health Show for some time. So what other time, as opportunity would have it, to bring in the new year for 2020 is to have her. I think time is of the essence and everything is about timing. So I'm so glad to have you here.
Yes.
I started the introduction, but I want you to kind of give a little background. I know that you are the mindfulness coach. If you kind of explain a little bit about your background and how you became the mindfulness coach, Janie.
Well, like many of us that venture into this field of work where you start to assist others through a journey that they're on, because we're all on an individual journey, and a big part of growth and evolving is becoming self-aware, getting real curious about how are we showing up in the world, how are we impacting our wellness, our well-being, because how we're being impacts your well-being, and we can get into that in a little bit, and really taking ownership of designing life intentionally and deliberately. But for me, I believe it was in about 2010 or 11, I started getting really curious about this reality and existence and asking bigger questions about, like, why am I here? What is life really all about? What is God? You know, just I started getting curious in that way and started reading books, and it really started peeling back the veil on the systems of the world, societal, cultural, religious ideologies, narratives, and all the things that we need in our society to have an existence, right?
Yes.
Money, food, medicine, you know, of course, academics, you know, schools. And I started seeing sort of the dissonance, the ways in which the world was operating that really wasn't in alignment with some universal spiritual laws, we'll say. A lot of imbalances in the world.
Yes.
Well, when you start to discover the truth about that, I started getting really interested in the inner journey.
Yes.
And really getting to the truth of not just what's going on out here, but what's really going on in here, because I kept hearing this idea that we're creating our reality, your personality, and your essence is sort of attracting things to you. And that part of it got really interesting for me because like a lot of people dealt with different types of trauma. And I realized that the trauma that was living inside of me was attacking me mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and those three parts of self are impacting the physical vessel, the matter. And so if I wanted to improve my wellness and improve my energy levels and take control of that, then I was going to need to understand those sides of myself. And some of that is dark and scary.
Yeah.
You must feel to heal. You have to reveal and, you know, and all this assess to address and all these things, right? So that for me, I started venturing into psychology and physics. I was studying a lot of different subject matter that was helping me understand how the mind and body operate, and more importantly, how are they interconnected? How are my thoughts and my emotions and my feelings really impacting the body? Because we've been disconnected and disembodied from the felt senses. Our body is letting us know when our mind and or heart, emotional body, is not at ease. But see, we disregard our feelings a lot, and we're all go, 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 do, do. We're living very much cerebrally, like very much in the head, and it's about thinking versus like feeling. And that's understandable, but that's not a very healthy way to live. Our society, for a very long time, has disregarded feelings and made it seem like it's not important.
Exactly.
And that's very destructive for all of us, men and women, and that's a whole nother conversation that we can get into.
And you know what, you made a good point, because some of the resolutions that I had mentioned, a lot of people are more interested in losing weight or exercising, those things that are apparent from the outside.
Yes.
However, you bring up such a great point that it's all about the inside.
Yes.
And it manifests outwardly.
It does, because when you, going back to light up your awesomeness, all of this stuff that we're discussing, and again, you can research it yourself, but I've done a lot of research on how the cells inside of our body actually work. And light is coursing through our body. It's what's allowing your heart to beat. It's what's allowing us to have an electromagnetic field, which is why they've got instruments that can read your brain waves and your heart waves. When we're stressed, your brain waves and your heart waves are not in coherence.
They're in alignment,
And what that does is that speaks something to the cells. About 68-70% of the food for the cell is oxygen. Well, when you're stressed, when you're not living an authentic life, when most of how you're seeing and experiencing the world is in a very sort of low vibratory, negative, pessimistic state, it is impacting you on a cellular level. It's literally robbing the cell of oxygen, which robs it of light, which robs it of energy. And when you have less light coursing through the body, and we get to dictate how dark we are or how light we are. And when I say light, I love the word light, because light for me signifies a lot of things. Light is like the little light bulb that goes off in your head. Intelligence, it's wisdom. Wisdom and intelligence and understanding and knowledge is power. How you use it is up to you. We have the free will to decide how ignorant we want to be and or how intelligent we want to be. So for me, I use my curiosity to study everything I can about my physiology and my own personal psychology, so that I can understand, why do I want what I want? Why do I do what I do? And instead of living life unconscious, that's why they say wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up, wake up, like get curious. Wake up to this way of being compassionately curious about yourself. Going back to light, lightheartedness. When we go into the word balance, you know, people automatically think of balance as work and play. Absolutely. But it's also about left brain and right brain. How much in the left brain are you? That's about control and rigidness and analyticalness and living very much on time. And the left brain likes to think about the past and the future. But the right brain is the artist. The left is the architect. but the right brain is the child. It's
Yes.
it's the feminine energy. It's the caretaker. It's the
play. Yes.
imagination. It's the lightheartedness. So when you're all like go
Rigid.
go
Yes.
and rigid, not only are you robbing yourself of oxygen, which means you're robbing yourself of your wellness, you're also shrinking your perspective, and you're also robbing yourself of feeling light. When you're around people, have you ever been around somebody?
They
and
just
you're-
drain you.
and they're like heavy and they're all complaining.
draining.
Right? And what do you say? Oh, I feel like they drain me of
Yes.
energy, or I feel so
Yes.
heavy when I'm around them.
I'm
you know?
reminded of scripture, not to cut you off.
No,
but
please.
light and darkness cannot exist together. And just think about it. If you walk into a dark room and you turn the switch on the light, you're no longer in the dark, you're in the light. So
Yes.
in biblical, of course, it's talking about good
I
and
love
evil,
it.
bad, and okay, but I believe it when you say, because that happens.
Yes.
When I've had an experience where I'm happy, I'm energetic, and if I allow someone's mood or their disposition to affect my light,
Yes.
I feel drained. You
Right.
know, so you made a good point about the light and how it can affect you.
Yes, and also too, you know, you were saying the light and the dark. Like we can't have this. There's the sun and the moon. We have the night and the day, and so there's all this like metaphors in
Yes.
life and like
Yes.
that we can relate to our own selves. And it's very natural as human beings. We are here to experience a wide variety of
Yes.
emotions, and it just so happens that each of them carry a frequency and a vibration. It's okay that you're going to get angry. Some things are
Yes.
going to, but we get curious about who and what is always making you angry. Some things, like when we see injustice taking place,
Yes.
that anger can be used to motivate you to do something to help.
It can be a positive
Right.
experience and not negatively.
Right.
Yes.
And sadness and crying, and you know, there's all these different feelings that we feel. Our goal is to try our best to feel the others as much as possible, but to leave room and understanding
Yes.
and mercy for the
Yes.
others, and learn how to process those emotions effectively.
Yes.
Because when we ignore them and we pretend like we're good and I'm fine, and you have to keep this face and all's well,
Yes.
and you know, what is everybody else going to think, and I have to have it all together, and that's exhausting.
Yes.
It's very exhausting. So you just have to find a way for you to restore yourself. If you're around a lot of heavy people that are negative all the time, and then you're watching television and it's all these murder shows, and you're watching the news, and then you're listening to this music that's like real degrading, and
Yes.
all
It
of
can't
that
help
is,
but affect you.
yeah, it's not just about what you eat. You were talking about the physical vessel.
Yes.
What you eat and what you drink is absolutely going to impact your body. If you eat food like a lot of vegetables and fruits
Yes.
and food that has life, not preservative box food that's fake, that's artificial food,
Yes.
that, yeah, sure, it's filling up your belly, but what is it really feeding your blood with,
Yes.
right? So I'm not saying you have to be straight and narrow and never, because I mean, I love me some sweets. I like sugar,
Yeah.
you know? And so I make sure that I get plenty of the other stuff so that I can enjoy that and try to do it without
Yes.
guilt. Funny enough, guys, if you are looking to, you were talking about losing weight. And I'm going to plug really quick, Justin, the change artist, he's my partner. We do a lot
Okay.
of work together.
Yes.
And, you know, he helps people with weight loss,
Yes.
right? But what he calls it is weight release.
Okay.
Because, and I'll tie it into the mind and body and stress. When you're wanting to lose weight, there's some things that are tied to your eating habits that go
I know
in.
emotional eaters. I know some emotional eaters.
Absolutely. Even for some people, something like sex trauma. Sex trauma can cause a person to then want to protect themselves and have
Yes.
this idea that if I have a lot of weight, then it'll be a barrier to
Yes.
predators, and then I'll be less of a prey
Yes.
because they're going to want the other prettier, thinner
Yes.
girls or whatever. Do you see what I mean? So you have to understand where's your motivation to lose weight, and since words are very powerful.
Yes, they are.
So when you hear, oh, I have to lose weight, the mind is already registering with the word lose. Well, when you think of lose is loss. Loss is scarcity. Scarcity and abundance. What are you doing? No, you want to improve your wellness.
Yes.
You want more vitality. Don't think about what you don't want to look like and feel like anymore. Flip the script.
Yes.
This is part of mindfulness. Becoming very like a skilled observer, a Jedi of your words, your thoughts, and your actions. okay? Becoming accountable. Lighting up your awesomeness is being able and willing to have enough humility
Yes.
and vulnerability in order for you to have authenticity. You need those two things. And a lot of people do not want to look at those other sides of themselves because they want the quick fix. But we must discover, how are we unconsciously, subconsciously self-sabotaging ourselves? And when you shine a light, going back to light, we are here to be, God is light,
Yes, he
right?
is. Yes.
And nothing would exist without the light. Nothing. We need the sun.
On the first day, he said, what? Let there be light.
Exactly. And funny enough,
Yes.
not to go too much into it, because I love talking about,
Yes.
God and creation and
Yes.
creator, but he said, so there's sound and light. We
Yes.
are instruments that light and sound is coursing through. Now, when you're not singing and dancing to the beat of your own drum because you've been conditioned to believe that you're supposed to want and be something that you're not, which is the whole point of existence, is to get to who am I, and then return inward and get back to the person that you're here to really be. Because once you tap into that individual without any fear of what everybody else is thinking, then you can live life from a place that's gonna allow you to be and do the thing that God had intended for you to do and be. And more will come to you, more abundance will come to you because you're doing it from a place of joy. You're more free.
I think that what you're specifically talking about, you touched on it earlier, and I would love for you to expound on it, is a lot of people, you see them looking a certain kind of way, they dress a certain kind of way, they live in a certain kind of zip code, but they're not really their authentic self. That inauthenticity is really starting to wear on people. So it could be their health. Different things happen and manifest in them because they're not living their authentic self. Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit more?
So authentic self also has to do with integrity of your voice. One, we all have a voice. How we're using it, though, is what we need to look at, right?
Yes, true.
And so voice, wait, I just lost my train of thought. You were just saying authenticity. Oh, integrity. Okay, integrity. Part of loving thyself and self-care is creating healthy boundaries, okay? Living your truth means being honest with yourself and other people. That is not easy for some because we have sicknesses like people-pleasing syndrome. People-pleasing tendencies, the martyr syndrome, where we love to give and help and do, but we feel real guilty if anybody wants to do for us, or we feel guilty saying no. And what I like to tell people, right? It could be, y'all, you might have a lot going on. Maybe something's going on with your child that you're dealing with. You're not having, you and your husband are struggling with some things. Work is demanding more of you. And then your sister calls you, be like, oh, Bobby has his birthday party coming up and I would love for you to help me with the party favors. Could you get here early? Right away,
It's okay to say no.
We don't want to disappoint. And it's very noble and it's very beautiful that we want to make everybody happy, but at the expense of yourself, now you're creating pain and suffering. Now you're doing that very thing out of obligation and guilt. And so now that's coursing through you, and that in itself is creating sickness inside of you already. And then if you do that enough times, you're not really being honest with your sister, and you'll start to build resentment for her, especially if she's the type of sister that doesn't reciprocate that same kind of help and support. And then
you have to save yourself. The first thing they tell you when we're on an airplane, the first thing they tell you is what? When the oxygen mask drops, administer it to yourself first and then help the person. So the same kind of thing, you have to make sure you're whole first before you can begin to help anybody else. Okay, so people make resolutions and their intentions are good. And I've been asked, Stephanie, what are your resolutions for 2020? You know what I'm saying? I'm not making resolutions this year. What I do, I have identified some things I want to work on myself, and I'm going to be deliberate.
That in itself is a resolution. It's a mantra that you wake up daily and you say, I am living deliberately,
Yes.
you know, intentionally, authentically,
Yes.
compassionately, you
Yes.
know, these things that are going to help us bring more light into the body,
Yes.
into the relationships,
Yes.
and into the world, and
Yes.
into your work and all that you do.
Yes.
Your weight release, talking about the physical vessel, when you feel that good inside, it's going to naturally radiate on the
On the
outside.
outside,
Yes.
yes.
And so, resolutions. Okay, so.
You said you had something for me on
Well,
resolutions.
I have something with the word because I love wordplay.
Okay.
And the way God speaks to me oftentimes, I love how information is shared with me because it comes in acronyms sometimes,
Okay.
right? So one day I heard SOUL, right? The word soul sort of came to me.
Okay.
And then I heard the soul always seeks out unconditional love. And that in itself is the acronym SOUL, seeks out unconditional love.
Wow.
So what I've been mastering for the last several years religiously is learning what does unconditional love actually mean. So when you say resolution, I see resolution.
Wow.
We need to seek solutions for the things that are ailing us or keeping us stuck or making us feel limited and making us feel helpless and making us continue to think under a mentality that is a systematic paradigm that is it's like a virus that got all in our heads, that there's only one way of being and that you cannot, it's a victim mentality.
Yes.
It's a victim mentality. So that's not something that you can just flip and switch overnight, but there's little things that you can do daily to feed the mind, the body, the heart, and the soul. And that's different things. And we could talk a little bit about the 7 positive daily habits that will help people.
Please.
But resolution, the most important gift that you could give yourself really is the gift of knowing thyself, healing thyself so that you can illuminate thyself. It's giving yourself the gift of life, because just because you're breathing and you're awake and you're going about your day, how much of self feels alive? Yes. What excites you? What motivates you? Where's your joy coming from? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And get curious about those things. If anything, let the mantra be for your resolution is,
I love that.
return to the curiosity of a child.
The innocence.
The innocence of the child. And we beat ourselves up so much and we feel so and crappy about ourselves, and we have 2 voices, the dark voice and the light voice. We got a Darth Vader inside of us, y'all. And that's our self-critic, the self-saboteur, the doubter.
Yes.
And then we have the other side, and what we need to do is the world has conditioned the other voice to be louder and stronger.
Yes.
It's up to us to feed the other so that you can start bringing that balance. It's really taming. If you want to manage your stress and tame your stress, we need to discover what are your dragons. Yes. And right now they might be really big and they're taking over. So I'm here as a mindfulness coach, which, by the way, mindfulness means to pay attention on purpose in the now, non-judgmentally.
Wow.
Pay attention to what? Pay attention to your surroundings, what's going on in here and here. Notice the next time somebody pisses you off when you're on the road for road rage, because everybody can relate to that. Okay?
I know I can.
Okay, you can totally relate to that. Notice, instead of using your energy to cuss them out and create the whole story and everything, be like, oh, and then think of what you want to say. Feel where it's attacking your body. Yeah. Notice your nervous system. The breath,
and know you have power to change that. We're going to hold that, because that could go on a whole nother. We got about a minute left.
Okay.
And we're going to probably come back, take a quick break, and we're going to just touch on the 7 positive daily habits. And you actually have a gift for the viewers to be able to get that. Yeah. And actually, I'm going to have Justin to come up and we'll kind of talk about that.
Oh, he want to, okay.
And he can maybe go through the exercise with us.
With us?
So, we'll be back in a moment. This is Stephanie Anderson with the Main Health Show. And welcome back to Main Health Show. Again, I am here with Janie Terrazas, the mindfulness coach, and her partner, Justin, the change artist. Thank you for joining us today. And in our previous segment, we talked a lot about mindfulness and how to be a better you this year, but we're going to talk a few points on the 7 positive daily habits that you can do. And she's going to go over a few of those with us, and
Yes.
she has a gift for each one of you on how to actually access that. So, Janie, go over some of that information with us, please.
Okay, sure. So I won't go over all of them, but I'll touch on 3. And a lot of these, I sandwich them, meaning I do them simultaneously, and you can do all of them in less than 10 minutes pretty much. But we'll do move your body. Move your body for at least 5 minutes a day. Okay, and that doesn't matter if it's stretching or just going for a walk or just jumping jacks or whatever, just move your body. Breathe and be still for at least 2 minutes a day. And I believe we're gonna do a little breathing exercise here in just a moment, but that's to help oxygenate your blood. So you do it with intention, and we'll do some cool visualizations and things with that. And then connect with nature. So I go outside, grounding, and you can do this research yourself. Earthing and grounding. When your bare feet are on dirt, sand, grass, water, when we're in nature, electrons are emanating off of the earth and they're being absorbed into the bloodstream, and it's fighting off free radicals. So it's like antioxidants. That's why they say nature nurtures. And that's why we feel so relaxed. But the point is to disconnect from technology.
Yes.
And so that's the whole point of bringing balance is, yes, we're on TV time, iPads, but how often do you go outside and really take in the fresh air, really feel the sun, and just be present and allow yourself to again, be in the now.
So I'm really excited for us to go through a demonstration
Yes.
with the breathe and be still. So if we can do a few seconds of that.
Yeah.
And it's not like just regular breathing that
Right.
we're unconscious of, but a very deliberate. So kind of show us how to do that.
Yeah, so this is a great way to bring your attention and focus into something that just naturally occurs all the time.
Okay.
And so if you're comfortable, you could sit down, lay down, or stand. In our case, we're standing. And just close your eyes if you're comfortable closing your eyes. And I want you to just relax the body, just notice your body where it might be holding some tension, and just kind of wiggle that out. And as you sit here and take this breath, you're going to notice just the natural rise and fall. Now I want you to intentionally take in a clean, deep breath through the nose, and imagine that it's shooting into the brain and coming down the nervous system. Taking in another breath, and I like to use the breath to also imagine that you're cleansing all the systems of the body and breathing life into all the organs that might be holding on to any stress or tension and pressure, and giving your body permission to release that on the exhale.
Wow. Yes, I could see how that should be incorporated. We don't have much time,
That's
so
it.
thank
That's
you.
simple
The
enough.
viewers can actually take what you've shared with them today and incorporate that. I know there's going to be someone here, Janie, who's going to want to know more about what you do. If you can give us information about your website or
Sure.
social media so they can do that.
Yes, absolutely. So go to JanieTerrazas.com. You'll see all kinds of places where you can contact me and request the 7 positive daily habits. I will send you a PDF that you can print out or just go over and start to incorporate some of these things, just to kind of get your mind, your body, your heart, and your soul centered into wholeness and wellness. Justin and I teach a lot of different classes that's for movement, meditation, again, that self-care prescription that you're looking for. If you're looking for relationship coaching, that's another thing that we also offer, and a wide variety of services that have everything to do with the mind, body, and being mindful, and again, living that light life, right? I want to thank you so much, for social media. Just search at Janie the Mindfulness Coach, and that's 1 L. People like to put 2 L's in fullness, and it's 1 L. And I'm sure that you will probably have something there too that they can click to, and I look forward to really having those that are seeking to live a more balanced, mindful, love-filled life reach out to us. So thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining me here on the Main Health Show.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching and viewing as well. This is Stephanie Anderson. Take care and be blessed. And Happy New Year.